Hi, I'm Rebecca from engVid, and this is a grammar lesson. Now, this lesson will help you to speak and to write more correctly in English. What we're going to do today is we're focusing on the difference between the two very commonly confused words, few and little. We're going to learn the difference between these two words, right? Few and little. But we're also going to take it a step higher to a more advanced level, and we're going to learn the difference between few and a few, and little and a little. Because if you didn't know that there's a difference, you might be surprised to learn that there is a big difference. All right? So you will learn all of that in this lesson, and it will help you to make fewer mistakes when you're communicating in English. So let's get started. So first of all, what we need to understand when we're talking about these words, few and little, is we need to understand the concept or the idea, which I hope that you have learned already, about countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Now, in this lesson, I'm not going to explain in detail about the countable and uncountable nouns. If you are not sure what those are, then please check other lessons of mine in which I have explained that in great detail. Go back and watch that, but you can still watch this here because I'm going to give you a basic explanation right now. But if you want to be 100% sure, you can check my previous lessons, and you can also check a resource that I've written specifically about countable and uncountable nouns, which will really help you to understand very, very clearly, because lots and lots of mistakes are made over this simple point of countable and uncountable nouns. So, what is a countable noun? A noun, first of all, in this case, we're talking about a person, place, or thing, or idea, or event. Okay, usually people say a person, place, or thing. If these are nouns, things that we can count, then we call them countable nouns. For example, chairs, right? We can say 1 chair, 2 chairs. And if we're talking about people, places, or things that we cannot count as such, or in English are considered something that we cannot count, then those are called uncountable nouns. For example, furniture. Okay? So we can say 1 chair and 2 chairs, but we cannot say the same for furniture. Furniture just stays furniture. You don't add an S at any time. It represents that group. Okay? All right. So now let's understand the difference between few and little and how they work. So the word few, first of all, means a little bit. Okay? It means not too many. But it's used for things which we can count. And little is like this, right? A little. So those are used with the uncountable nouns. So we would say, for example, few chairs, but little furniture. We would say a few computers. I have a few computers in the office, and I have a little equipment in my office. Now, right now, I'm not explaining yet the difference between few and a few and little and a little. We will get to that. But first, let's just understand this difference between when we use few and when we use little. Few is with anything we can count. Little is with anything we cannot count. Okay? So we say a few reports. I have to complete a few reports. Or I need a little information. Reports we can count. Information in English we cannot count. We cannot add an S there to any of these words. Okay? Next, I have a few assignments to complete, or I have a little homework. We cannot add an S there. Okay? So first and foremost, make sure that you know the difference between the countable nouns and the uncountable nouns. Know, second, that we use few or a few with the countable nouns, and we use little and a little with the uncountable nouns. Okay? Got that? Now let's move to the next stage and understand the difference between few and a few and little and a little. Okay, so let's start by looking first at the difference between a few and few. In this case, that little word, makes a big difference. Let's understand what that difference is, okay? So first of all, if I'm saying a few, it just means some, a small number, okay? And we said that this is all with countable nouns, right? But if I say just few, then it means not enough, not many, okay? Now, let's understand what that means. As soon as you see the examples, you'll understand exactly what I mean. Let's start with the first one, okay? So if I say, he has a few friends, what does it mean? He has a few friends, he has some friends, he has a small number of friends, but he's good with that. He's happy, all right? He has a few friends. Nothing wrong. But if I say he has few friends, that actually means the opposite. It means the way he feels, he doesn't have enough friends. He wishes he had more friends. Do you understand? It means not many, not enough. That's the idea there. So here, when we said he has few friends, that becomes an unhappy situation, a negative. Here, he has a few friends. It's a positive. Here, he has few friends. It's a negative. Okay? So you see how that little word can make such a big difference with a few, and also, as we're going to see in a few minutes, a little. Okay? But let's stay here first. Let's look at another example. If I say, I have a few ideas, it means I have some ideas. That's a positive. I'm happy. Okay? But if I say, oh, I don't know what to do, I have few ideas, that's a negative, because I wish I had more ideas, right? I feel like I don't have enough ideas. There's not many here, and I wish I had more. Okay? See the difference there? Now it becomes a negative. I have a few ideas. I'm happy. I have few ideas. I'm unhappy. Okay? All right. Let's look at some more examples. Now, these were with kind of like positive words. Now let's look at what happens when we're talking about words which are themselves a little bit negative, okay? Now we're getting very nuanced and detailed. Let's understand. If I say, he has a few problems. Has some problems, okay? But problems itself is a negative word. So if I say he has a few problems, that's not a good thing. That's kind of like a sad thing, let's say, or negative thing, okay? He has a few problems is a negative thing. But now look what happens. Look at the magic here. If I say he has few problems, that means he doesn't have that many. That suddenly becomes a good thing. Okay? He has few problems. Everything's all right with him. Okay? So here, few problems became a positive. But if I said he has a few problems, that becomes a negative. So it also depends which word we're putting after a few and few. If it's kind of like a positive word, then it has one meaning. If it's kind of like a negative word, then it has a different meaning. Let's take another example. If I say, he made a few mistakes. Okay? That's not good. It's never great to make mistakes. So that's kind of like a negative, right? See the frowny face there. Okay? He made a few mistakes. He made some mistakes. But if I say, he made few mistakes in his homework or in his report, that's a good thing. That means not very many. Okay? Not many. So this becomes a positive. Do you see the difference between a few and few? Do you see the difference in meaning? Okay? So again, let's just take the first example. If I say I have a few friends, that's a good thing. I'm happy. But if I say I have few friends, I don't have enough. I wish I had more. Okay? Try it out. Think it through. Write for yourself just now, or think for yourself. Write a sentence about yourself and say, I have a few something, even about friends. Or do you have a few friends or do you have a few friends? Do you have a few? Did you make a few mistakes? Or did you make a few mistakes? Okay? Write something about yourself to sort of really lock in the understanding of this word. Now let's look at little and a little. It works the same way. So now, let's just review. A little or little we use with what? Uncountable nouns. Okay? So let's look at how that works. A little means some or a small amount. And little means not enough or not much. Let's look at the example so we understand clearly. Okay? So if I say, I have a little time before my flight, that's a positive thing. So I have a little time before my flight. I'm going to get something to eat. All right? That's a positive thing. But if I say, I have little time before my flight, I don't have time to get anything to eat. Okay? That's a negative thing. That means I have not enough time. Okay? So you see the difference there. A little is just like a neutral statement. All right? But this is usually something a little bit different. Let's look at another example. I had a little sleep last night. I'm feeling better now. That's a positive. But I had little sleep last night. I'm so tired. Okay? So this becomes a negative. And again, little means not enough in this case. And here it just means I had some sleep. It's fine. Everything's okay. All right. Now let's look what happens when the nouns are actually a little bit negative themselves. So for example, he had a little trouble with his car. Okay, that's not a good thing, right? So he's not too happy there. You can see that. But he's had little trouble with this car since he bought it. That's a good thing, okay? He didn't have much trouble. Let's look at another example. She has a little anger towards him. That's a negative, all right? She has a little anger. She has some anger, a small amount of anger towards him. But if I said, she has little anger towards him, it's okay. She got over it. That means she doesn't have much anger towards him, okay? So now you see that these words, a little and little, can have such a difference in meaning, right? And I hope that you're getting it and understanding it and absorbing it. If you need to, go back, watch it again until it really sinks in and you get it. But now what we're going to do is we're going to practice with a few examples and putting these words into sentences so that they make sense. Let's do that. Okay, so now let's practice together and apply what you have learned so far. Okay, I'm going to do it with you. No worries. Okay, so we have 8 sentences on the board. In the first 4, you have to add either a few or few, because here we're talking about countable things. And in the last 4, you're going to add a little or little, because here we're talking about uncountable things. All right? Okay, so let's begin. Now, what I've also done, you'll probably see all these faces here, right? And some are smiley faces and some are not. Some are the opposite. So when you see a smiley face, you're going to say something positive. So for example, whenever there's a smiley face, I'm going to say fortunately. Because in English, whenever we give some good news, we say fortunately. When we give some bad news, we say unfortunately. Okay? Say it after me. Fortunately. Unfortunately. Okay? Good. So let's get started. So here, fortunately, there were blank doctors who could help us. Which one would you say? Fortunately, there were. So here it will be a few doctors who could help us. Okay? This is a good thing. Now, negative. Unfortunately, there were blank doctors who could help us. So here, we're going to say the opposite. Unfortunately, there were few doctors who could help us. So when we said there were a few doctors who could help us, we were saying, oh, it's good. There are some doctors who can help us. When we said there were few doctors who could help us, it means there were not many doctors who could help us. Okay? So one is positive, one is negative. And therefore we're using a few or few. Next. This is not a happy situation, so we say, unfortunately, we've had blank issues with our computers, let's say. Unfortunately, we've had a few issues with our computers. That's a good thing. Oh, sorry, that's a bad thing, right? We've had a few issues with our computers. That's not good. You don't want to have a few issues with your computers. Now, positive, fortunately, we've had, it's going to be the opposite. Fortunately, we've had few issues, okay, with our computers. And that one means that's good. We didn't have too many problems with our computers. Okay? All right. I hope you're still with me. Stay with me. You will get it. Okay. Next, a little and little. So let's say you are a French speaker and you're somewhere where where everybody speaks English, but you're really looking for someone who speaks French. Okay. And you meet some people, but then you say, okay, fortunately, they speak blank French. You're happy. So you say, fortunately, they speak a little French. Good. But then the other side, you could say, unfortunately, they don't speak enough French. So how do we say that? Unfortunately, they speak little French. Okay? All right. Next. This is a good thing. Fortunately, she's made blank progress. This is good. Fortunately, she's made a little progress. Okay? And the last one, which is a negative, unfortunately, we want to say here she hasn't made enough progress. So we say, unfortunately, she's made little progress, right? Little progress. Okay? What is progress? Progress means moving forward. Now you have made a lot of progress, okay? Today, by watching this lesson, I really congratulate you. This is an advanced lesson as far as this part goes, okay? That first part about countable, uncountable, that's pretty basic. That's sort of a beginner and intermediate point. But these are advanced points. So if you've got it, that's amazing. It's going to make a tremendous difference in your English. What could you do now? Well, go to our website at www.engvid.com. There you can do a quiz and really review and master this part. Okay? Next, subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can continue to get lots of interesting lessons like this that will help you to improve your English level. And a third thing you can do is check out my English course, Correct Your English Errors in 10 Minutes a Day. And there you'll find lots of points like this, similar to this, okay? Some are easier, some are a little bit harder. And by making those little corrections, your English will change completely in a very easy, quick way because the lessons are really short, just 10 minutes a day, okay? Thanks very much for watching and all the best with your English. Bye for now.